Welcome, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. Back with our every 3-week installment in our YouTube series. This week we're back on Qigong, and we're returning to the Five Animal Frolics once again, and the Deer Frolics once again. This is the fourth of the Deer Frolics that we're going to present. Today will be deer looking back when we get into the meat of today's video. We've done deer walking. That was water tiger for sachem back in the first year during home isolation, August 3rd of 2020. So that's in the Facebook Live playlist on the channel. Then the other two would be in the Tai Chi and Qigong training playlist. Deer kicking was September 24th of 21. And deer running was our last deer frolic, and that was January of this year, January 5th of 2023. We only have a few left. We'll have one deer left after this to make out that 5. We have one of the bear frolics remaining, and we have 2 of the monkey frolics. By the way, you might notice over on the chair, I mentioned, when the deer frolic, the animal frolics from Water Tiger School's lineage, we normally walk in a circle. And can't believe I just did that. And in the studio, to help the participants in the class track the circle, we set out plush animals in the circle. And this is our deer, Duffy the deer. I didn't choose the name. It's on the tag. So say hi to Duffy. So anyway, that will be our focus. We'll talk more about the specifics of the deer frolic as we introduce the deer frolic. We also thought this was pretty timely because just the other day, a tantra from the Dzogchen branch, I guess, of Buddhism popped up in one of our social media feeds. And the second stanza of the tantra is sort of appropriate. So the first stanza is, as a bee seeks nectar from all kinds of flowers, seek teachings from everywhere. Like a deer that finds a quiet place to graze, seek seclusion to digest all that you have gathered. Like a madman beyond all limits, go where you please and live like a lion, completely free of fear. So of course it was the second stanza, like a deer that finds a quiet place to graze, that sort of went, yeah, we're doing the deer frolics. So there's that. By the way, the t-shirt, this is the 2012 World Tai Chi and Qigong Day t-shirt. It's actually the last year that this was the design. They cleaned it up for the first time in 2023. That's featured on a number of t-shirts, over the last 3 years, because I have quite a collection. My first t-shirt was 07, and I've only skipped 2 years. There wasn't a t-shirt in 2021. They did release one in 2020 before the world stopped in March 2020. They didn't do one in 2021. And they didn't do one in 2022. This was the first year since the pandemic that they offered it again. I didn't get this year's t-shirt. And then there was a year that they reissued an earlier t-shirt, so I didn't double up on that one either. But so I have quite a collection from 07. That's coming up. We're shooting this in sort of mid-April-ish, latter half of April. This year, World Tai Chi Day is on Saturday, April 29th. We have our event set in Suffolk County on Long Island. I hope, if you are a Tai Chi player, that you have somewhere to go on the 29th and participate in this worldwide event. It's quite a thing. So there's that. I don't think I really have anything else announcement-wise to address. There's nothing in my notes anyway. So I'm going to get a drink after crunching my mint. As always, with the Animal Frolics, our warm up is going to be from the 9 temple exercises. It's advance and retreat. We do this because it brings our attention to our knees which we feel is really important for coming into the animal frolics, because the frolics include that sort of ideally 45 to 45 stance, and you're turning while that foot is out at the 45. So there's a tendency to pull the knee width, and you want to make sure that, see, if I pull that right knee width, that's my bad knee, so I better not do that again. It causes issues. So we do advance and retreat to help bring the focus into the knees. Now that's not, the primary therapeutic quality of advance and retreat. It works the abdominals, the legs, and the ankles. It activates the Xia Dantian. And again, not the acupuncture point. Remember, the acupuncture point is the thing that's on the surface that is connected energetically to the actual either meridian or esoteric vessel. And this is an esoteric vessel that sits in the cup of the hips. So it activates the actual Xia Dantian. It activates the Shen Yu, the essence door, or the ensis cavity on the lower back. And it benefits the kidneys, it benefits the liver, which is also a therapeutic quality of the Deer Frolics, the pancreas, the spleen, the gallbladder, ascending, descending, and traverse colons. So it helps a lot. Feet are going to be shoulder wide or a little bit wider. This is a little bit easier if the feet are a little bit closer together. Remember, toes and knees should track right straight forward, ideally. If you're a little abducted or adducted, that's okay. Just make sure your knees stay the same direction as your feet, all things being equal. Right? Now, keep in mind, in our approach to this particular exercise, there are other things you can do with your hands, but we really suggest just let the arms dangle. It's a good opportunity to sort of play with that, allowing the arms to be flaccid. We don't do that very often, but that idea of that separation between an active part of the body and an inactive part of the body, sort of substantial and insubstantial, is an important skill to develop as we approach our Tai Chi and even our Qigong. So there's that. Remember, we start with retreat, and there's a turn that's mostly above the hips, because again, if I turn the hips, right, if I'm gonna do it this way, so my more healthy knee gets that little test. If I turn the hips, it twists that knee in. So I want to turn above the hips to look one direction or the other. And I'm going to start this. I always sort of break this down when we're doing advance and retreat in segments. So I start with the rotation sort of in the belt channel area. And then that gets to a certain ability in my spine and torso in twisting before it starts to pull this opposite hip, in this case the right hip, because I'm turning to the left. And then I'm going to see if there's a little bit more spinal twist I can get in my mid-torso, and then my upper torso, and then whatever is left, I turn my neck on my head and look that direction. And since we're going to start with retreat, I'm going to be in that position over the weighted leg that's the same side as the direction I'm facing. Arms hang. There are two parts here. I shift and then I turn. And that's retreat. So keep in mind, this is also sort of a little bit of play in this little thing here, right? I have to make sure that I'm like looking down to make sure, can they see the yin yang symbol? The Tai Chi symbol. Remember, when I say Tai Chi symbol, the art is named for the symbol, not the symbol for the art. Why I'm pointing out the yin yang symbol is retreat is a yin activity. Yang is an expanding activity or an advancing activity. So I'm becoming yin as something else is becoming yang. Something's coming toward me, I'm retreating. When I get to advance, something is moving away, something is becoming yin, and I'm becoming yang to move into it. Breathe when you have to, but you might do an inhale on the retreat, an exhale on the turn, and then when we advance, an exhale on the advance, and then inhale on the turn. Really pay attention to the knees. That's the priority here as you do this exercise. If you've never done it before, then maybe bring the breath in, then maybe start contemplating that image of someone moving toward you as you retreat, or someone moving away from you as you advance. I hope all that made sense. So again, I like the floppy arm version. Some people do things with their arms. I find that if you put the hands somewhere, that it sort of adds tension in the torso, makes it harder to keep that separation between the upper body and the lower body. So I like the dangly arms. Other people will actually, add arm movements, for retreats. They'll bring in for advance, they'll push forward or something like that. That's not really, from our understanding and our approach to advance and retreat, part of this particular exercise. So we're going to do retreat first, as I said. So I'm going to fill the weight. I'm on my left, but you can go to your right. You can just do a mirror image of me. That's okay. Right? And I'm looking to that side of the space. And now maybe on the inhale, I'm shifting, keeping my focus in that direction, and then keeping the weight in the other leg as I turn and look to the other side of the space. And then I retreat. Again, maybe an inhale on the shift and exhale on the turn. And shift and turn. Knees and toes, same direction. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Shift, not really counting this morning, and turn. Just going to go for a while. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Much more difficult to keep the knees and the toes if you go much wider than just a little bit wider than shoulder wide. Shift and turn. Again, if I'm closer and not shoulder wide, it's a little bit easier. So if you don't have as much, if you're limited in your spinal rotation, you might want to be inside of shoulder width instead of shoulder wide or wider. Shift and turn. Retreating. Now we always add yet a deeper level of mindfulness. Shift and turn. When we do shift and turn, advance, retreat and advance, advance and retreat. In our classes, where we suggest, as people get comfortable with the breath pattern, and again, you can breathe when you have to. You don't have to do the exhale, inhale. And then that image of something expanding, so you're retreating away from it. We add the additional level of, I am now retreating, what in me is advancing? For there is always advance and retreat and advance. We're just going to do, 3 more pairs. So 6 movements. That was 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. I'm going to hold here. So I talked about, maybe now when we advance, it's going to be an exhale. Inhale on the twist. But breathe when you have to. That force, that energy, that opponent is becoming yin, is moving away, is opening up. And I'm filling that space. They're emptying their glass of water. I'm pouring my glass of water in. So, again, breathe when you have to. But the same thing. At the end of of retreat, I was talking about finding the advance as you retreat. Here, after getting the breath, getting comfortable with the breath and the movement, getting comfortable with that idea of that image, then add that additional layer of what is retreating as I am advancing. So since I want to exhale when I move in that direction, and I've been hanging out here for a while, my left leg's going, are you going to move or not, dude? I'm going to inhale first and then exhale as I advance. Crown point of the head over the base of the pelvic bowl. So I'm not leaning forward or leaning back. I keep that string of pearls that we talk about in our Tai Chi in this exercise as well. Shift and turn. 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 Something's moving away. I'm filling the space. And turn. Now they're moving away on this side. Shift and turn. Maybe an exhale and inhale and exhale and inhale. Find what is retreating as I advance. That was a hint. Find what is retreating as I advance. Shift and turn. 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 I think we can probably do about another 6 pairs. So there's 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn forward, redivide the weight equally between the 2 feet. There's your little warm up again, bringing the mind, the mindfulness, the awareness, the attention into the knees. So you make sure knees and toes stay the same direction. So I mentioned when I was going through the therapeutic qualities of that exercise that the deer also has a therapeutic quality of helping to improve liver function. It also addresses mental and emotional challenges. The deer tends to be very calming in its movement. It helps to strengthen the bones and the tendons, increases circulation, and helps to reduce stagnation and weakness that can come with aging, says the man with purely gray hair. Our approach to the frolics really embraces that idea of embracing, so embracing to the second power, the nature and the spirit of the animal as you become the particular animal. And the nature of the deer, not that timid kind of thing that we in Western civilization, immediately pops into mind, but calm and alert. The deer are very attentive. They pay attention. And the spirit is supple, without limits. I usually use a very physical manifestation of that to sort of describe what that means. And that's that, you see a deer grazing on one side of a fence, and you blink, and it's on the other side of the fence. That quickly, that easily, just boop, and over. So again, calm and alert, supple without limits. And I suppose the calm and alert comes in handy in deer looking back. Why is the deer looking back? The movement should have the idea of constant stretching with a light, relaxed, natural torso. The Qi, I wouldn't say one of the easier of the Qi focus, but it's not too complex. The Renmei and the Dumei are the primary focus, and that visual flow in small circulation. Now, this is where things Water Tiger might conflict with things, other programs, other lineages. Our concept of the yin conception vessel and the yang governing vessel, the ren and the mei, the ren and the du mei, differs from other people as far as where the acupuncture points of focus are, where the actual break between the yin conception vessel and the yang governing vessel are. To us, the yin conception vessel begins in the lower part of the face. So we lightly touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, which is an acupuncture point that ends, to us, the yang governing vessel. Now, we put that acupuncture point just behind the upper teeth. A lot of people put that acupuncture point on the soft palate back toward the throat. And that creates, to us, too much tension. So we move it. And by the way, we feel perfectly justified in this because some acupuncturists, if you ask them, where is this particular point? Or where do you think it is? And you tell them, and say, well, that's where it is. But anyway, that's where our yin conception vessel starts. It goes down, passes through, the Shung Dantian acupuncture point, the Xia Dantian acupuncture point, kind of the pubic bone. It actually passes between the legs. And a lot of people have the break at the Huyin at the bottom of the Xia, at the perineum. But we continue up between the vertical smile, and some will bring that all the way to the Ming Men as the connection point. We actually have the end of the yin conception vessel a little bit underneath where we have the Ming Men, which again is a different positioning than some people. We have it even with the Shung Dantian acupuncture point, or the Xia Dantian acupuncture point on the lower abdominal cavity. So the Ming Men is part of the yang governing vessel, which again starts kind of, a little bit between the Ming Men and the anal cleft, and then it carries through the Ming Men, up the spine, up over the top of the head, the Bak Wei, the Shen Yu, the Shung Dantian acupuncture point. I have rented lips and rented mind this morning, apparently, and again, ending at the mouth. So, and our flow, the general flow for us is this way. You can also flow that way, but our primary flow pattern for the yin, for the small circulation, yin conception vessel into the yang governing vessel is this way. So, around and down. So that's our primary chi focus, is just taking into consideration, not like making that the be all and the end all, but of that flow. And then the mind is also on the Ming Men point, wherever that happens to be from your perspective. There's a third point of chi focus, and that's on the hands as the antlers. And you look at Duffy over here. That one's a little too crooked, and Duffy has, they're going up all over the place. So I don't make them quite that dramatic, but there's some variety in the fingers. And you want your chi focus to be in the hands as the antlers. And that's in the active moment, and then the passive moment, they just relax. They become just normal, relaxed, sort of flaccid hands and arms. So that's the basic focus. Again, there are just these basic things. The therapeutic quality, which you really do not have to keep in mind as you're doing the actual animal, because the animal doesn't think about therapeutic quality when it's being the animal. But the nature and the spirit, calm and alert, supple without limits, the movement, a gentle stretch, the chi focus, the flow of the small circulation, yin conception vessel, yang governing vessel, the Ming Men point, and the hands as the antlers. This is a 45 to 45 step. So ideally, your feet are going to be like this. They're going to be abducted from your center line. And with the deer, generally speaking, it's a step to the flat of the foot, and the other foot stays grounded. A lot of the frolics, we tend to come up in some way, leaving only the ball of the foot down. But this is foot to foot, which may have an impact on the breadth and length of your step. We don't really specify that in our animal frog. Step at a width that works for you, at a length that works for you, and yes, ideally 45 to 45. So if I'm walking toward the camera, that's my straight line. If I were to walk straight to the right side of the space, that would be a 90-degree angle, or the left side of the space. So I'm picking that point about halfway in between. So again, if you think about a clock face, there's 12, there's 3. I'm about halfway between 12 and 3, which then would put me at about 1:30. Right? If there was a big clock on the floor, it would point to where that hour hand is at that point at around 1:30. Or not the hour hand, the minute hand. So again, on this side, it would be 9, 12, about 10:30. But if you need a more shallow, right? So instead of stepping, there's my 10:30-ish, maybe it's 11 o'clock. You don't want to get too close to 12 o'clock, so 11:30 would be maybe a little bit too close, but you can shorten that up. You need to broaden it, that would be weird, but that's okay too. Just use that 45 as sort of a target and an ideal, but you do what you can. As this guy over here says, let's see, which one is it? It's number 1. Of course it's number 1. Do your best and forget the rest. Right? So, boom. So I'm stepping 45 to 45. And unlike our Tai Chi, as I mentioned, I believe every time we shoot one of these that are on the animal frolics, some people see the animal frolics being done. For instance, there have been plenty of times Water Tiger has presented something from the animal frolics at World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, and it never fails. We're always asked, what style of Tai Chi is that? It's not. It's Qigong. It's moving Qigong. A lot of people, I mean, there are just thousands and thousands of different approaches to energy work, to Qigong. This is one of them, but a lot of people are only familiar with the stationary ones. So they see moving Qigong and think, what's that? Right? But we have pauses. Not all of the animals, not all of the frolics have pauses. And there's part of this particular frolic in Deer Looking Back that doesn't have a pause in the movement or the breath. But generally speaking, yeah, it's there. Right? Oh, I didn't talk about the breath. That's the other thing. The breath is really, it's probably going to be familiar because we finished the crane frolics and it's the same breath as the crane. Soft inhalation in through the nose. Sound of the wind on the exhale. So not a storm, just a nice breeze. It's usually described as the wind, but I sort of tone that down and say breeze. Right? So when I step, that's going to be the exhale. And then the inhale is the next. So I step, there's going to be movement in between and breath in between. And then it'll be an inhale. And that's the lower body. That's all it is. Step, hold, close, hold. Step, hold, close, hold. Step, hold, close, hold. Do it this way. Step, hold, close, hold. Step, hold, close, hold. Step, hold. And again, notice flat feet, close, hold. Not flat here, heels in the air. My right heel's in the air to step to the right. More or less a flat foot landing. And hold. Left heel's in the air. Ball of the left foot is down. I'm not holding it in the air. Step. And this pace that I'm going might even be a little bit fast. This is not rushed in any aspect. Some of the movements of the deer You know, you're basically thrusting and really exploding into that forward position. And here I'm just stepping. I'm going to do one more after this. So now, facing this direction, we will also take a moment to practice the closing. You want to turn on the balls of the feet, when you bring in the back foot, to the direction you've been walking. So we've been walking in a linear fashion. As I turn on the balls of feet to face this back wall of the space, my hands from where they are, they're going to turn palm up, palm down, left on the left side of the center line, right on the right. And then a little rebound brings the hands to the acupuncture point for the Xia Dan Tian. So it looks a lot upper body movement like in our Tai Chi Qigong breathing set, or 10-piece breathing set from Water Tiger School. The third posture, which is pour Qi through the Bak Wei, looks a lot like that. In the upper body, the feet are planted in the breathing set. But you want to balance the steps. So we start with a step to the left. We'll finish with a step to the right. We'll finish the upper body movement. The hands will come down. We'll turn into the line we've been walking, palms up, palms down. And I'm going to go down with the hands. You don't have to. You can lengthen there, as I do a lot of times. Boom, and the hands to the dantian. And that's your closing movement. The upper body movement in deer looking back, at different intensities, this is also featured in other frolics of the deer. My hands are going to be in the neutral position, palms back, so there's a little bit of activation. I'm not just letting them hang. As I step, they're going to come up left on the left, right on the right of the center line, and they're going to drive forward. But, you know, there's no hurry, there's no explosion. Up and out. Now, at this position, after this hold, I'm going to look back. The movement is led with the elbow. So leading with the elbow is going to turn the palm down there, and it'll finish down back there. And then without a pause, it swings back, it swings up, there's a hold, and then down. And then up and out, and back, and in, and down. And this is an inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Sorry, that's what, just gave you the wrong breath pattern. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Sorry about that. I don't know where, again, rented mind, rented lips this morning. Mostly rented mind, I think. So a little shake. That's the pattern. That is deer looking back. So keep in mind that alertness. What do I see? And back. I also, when it comes to that idea of always feeling sort of the gentle stretch through the body, and that the torso is light, relaxed with a natural torso, I think of the deer, you know, like a buck, and they just look so majestic, so proud, that you have that sense of that majesty and that subtlety within the movement and the great power, springiness, if you will, of the deer that's there on beck and call. It's not really necessary right now. So there you go. Sorry for the glitch on the breath. I'm a bad, bad man. So I'm going to bounce the weight into the left, turn that right foot out, settle into it, get that extra activation in the arms so the palms actually face back. I'm going to exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hopefully a little bit more coordinated than I just did. Inhale. Exhale. Remember that? Inhale. Sound of the wind. That's a little less hurried. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Ideally, shift forward, antlers extended, breath, all done at the same time. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Hands going down, foot coming in, hands going down, foot coming in, hands going down, exhaling, foot coming in, all done at the same time. Let's squeeze out 2 more steps here. So get closer to the camera. Last step before we close this direction. Exhaling, bringing the foot in, turning in the direction we've been walking. There's a pass that direction. We'll do a pass the other direction. That'll pretty much be it. So a little shake. Now I mentioned, when we do the walk in the studio, it's rounded. So you walk 45 to 45 based on your circular pattern and wherever you are in the circle. So I, from here into my, and down this direction, here, boom, boom. And then when I come in and close, I'm going to turn into wherever I am on the border of my circle. Oh, I gotta come to this side. Swear. So, oh, shake, no expectation. Whatever happens is a pleasant surprise. Oh, that feels good. Okay. Enough about me. Let's get to you guys. Turn that foot out to the 45. That little activation in the arms, again, dangling to just palms back. Now it's done on an exhale. So you can inhale, hold, sound of the breeze, right into supple inhalation, pause, sound of the breeze. Soft inhalation, ideally nasally. Hold for a beat, exhale, sound of the breeze. Soft inhalation in through the nose. Hold for a moment. Now I'm feeling this morning, as we shoot this, a little tension in my lower back. Oops, I held that. Hold this, not the swing back. So I feel like I'm leaning a little bit forward. I should be upright, crown point of the head over the base of the pelvic bowl. So I'm shortening my step now. Now I feel like I'm a little better aligned. Last 3 steps. Perfection is a pathway, not a destination. As we say all the time at Water Tiger School, last step. Well, we say that too, but that's not what I was introducing. Exalt the journey. You're going to have good days, you're going to have not so good days. Coming in, turning into the direction we've been walking, palms up, fingertip to fingertip, palms down. And a little bit rebound. And by the way it would work, boom, lengthening the body as the hands come down and setting into it. I just feel with this particular closing, as we're doing the animal frolics, in this particular instance, that it feels better for me to lower my body with the hands as opposed to in opposition of the hands. But I always want that little additional movement to bring the hands to the Shia Dantian. So in closing, taking the hands down, then I have the rise to bring the hands to the Dantian. So it's not just hands down and then move them here. I have that movement through the body to do that, but I can also do lengthening, almost straight and strong leg of yoga to then sit down into it. So there you go. The 4th of the 5 Deer Frolics. So I've done deer walking, deer running, deer kicking. This is deer looking back. I think is it leaping? I think it's deer leaping. Jumping. Not sure. It's leaping, jumping, one of those kind of active verbs, and that will finish the deer. We have 1 bear left, and we have 2 monkey. Monkey offering the peach to the immortal, and I believe monkey hiding. And that'll finish the 25, individual animal frolics for us in the Qigong series. By the by, we've been doing this like every 3 weeks. Not sure if the next one is going to be at the 3-week point. I may have talked about this at the head of the video. There's just a lot of scheduling conflicts in May. So the next one may be in 4 weeks instead of 3 weeks. It will be a Tai Chi focus. And it will be on this kind of thing. So the staff, because of the space and how low the ceiling is here, I will be using a short staff to just do some staff basics. So you're going to want a longer stick of some sort. You don't need a traditional, sort of long staff-ish. You don't need a traditional short staff-ish. This would never work in this space, but if you happen to have some decorative bamboo at home and not a staff, that can work too with what we're going to do. Or, a broomstick with the broom part, brush part taken off. So that's next time. That'll, of course, be in the introduction to the video as well. And there you go. So as always, one, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful, interesting, entertaining, something like that. We are still on the YouTube channel, checking any comments. not to weed out, the people who disagree with our presentations, as long as it's done respectfully, but only because YouTube algorithms tend to miss, shall we say, shared links to dating services. So that's why we screen all the comments. I know they've got some beta test out there with, more stringent uh, whatever judgment, but we're not participating in that. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Link to this will also be on our YouTube channel. Of course, it'll be on the YouTube channel, on our Facebook page. So there, it's a little bit more, Wild West-ish. But if somebody flames us there, that doesn't stay, and neither do they. So criticism always welcome, appreciated actually, as long as it's constructive and not just um, kind of flaming out on us. So thanks for your time and attention. As always, it's very appreciated. Again, next one may not be at the 3-week mark, but it'll be as close as we can get it to that, and it'll be staff basics. So take care, stay safe, be well.